A small introduction about ZOPPER. So ZOPPER is a Series C funded, uh, quite big organization now, which is led by one of the alums of Vidyapeeth, Mr. Sujendu Kuila. He is our CEO. And once he graduated from Vidyapeeth, he'd been to IIT Roorkee, then to IIM Calcutta. He's worked with Steve Jobs in the past, couple of things, and then now, in 2011, he was back in India and he started ZOPPER. So ZOPPER is basically an insurtech broker. So when we say broker, either we become an insurer or we need to pick up an insurance broking license to do business related to insurance in India. So we decided to pick up the insurance broker license, and we are now 700 members strong as an organization, 700 employees as an organization, and our main focus is into technology. We are doing a lot of things in the insurtech space, in the insurance broking space, and alumni insurance program, which is the subject matter of today's discussion, is basically one of the key areas where we are doing it. So we have done it for IIM Bangalore, where I am an alumnus of IIM Bangalore. We rolled out an insurance program for them very recently, and good number of participation has come in. And then this is the second year renewal for IIM Kozhikode Alumni Association as well. So we are also now talking to all the IITs. We are also talking to premier institutes like Vidyapeeth and other alumni associations, where we feel that this product has a need on one side and also can work better with the premier institute kind of a tagline. So now, keeping this into mind, I will quickly start sharing my screen and move on to the presentation. Can one of you confirm whether you can see the screen?
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, thanks, Monica. So today we are going to talk more about the awareness related to health insurance. We are going to ask certain questions and try and answer them, which are relevant questions in this space. We are also going to talk. I'll start the discussion and maybe pass it on back to Ritesh, Samudrada, and everybody else. But the kind of challenges that Vidyapeeth Alumni Association normally is facing when they're trying to structure this kind of a program. What are the basic premise challenges? And then we will also look at a possible kind of a program which is working better in this space. So that's sort of a sum up in terms of a nutshell. So quickly, and I would also want this interaction to be sort of interactive. If you want to stop me, please raise your hand. Please put in your question. Or if you want to park your questions, please park your questions on the chat window. Once we finish the presentation, we'll quickly go through those questions in the chat window as well. So to start with, why health insurance is essential? Health insurance is definitely essential because the medical inflation is pretty high in India, and it's roughly between 20 to 25%, which means that an ailment cost, say a heart ailment cost, which was roughly a lakh of rupees last year, will cost around 1 lakh 20 or 1 lakh 25,000 rupees in the next year. This is called medical inflation. This is no direct correlation with the normal inflation, but yeah, medical inflation is pretty much on the higher side. So what would we want to do? Would we want to burn our savings, or would we want to have an adequate, safety net? That's why health insurance is essential. How much is an adequate cover is a question which normally I come across. So I have almost 25 years of experience now in this insurance space. And I have been structuring very complex programs for corporates, for alumni associations, for multiple areas. And everywhere I go, this question comes in that how much is an adequate cover? So people think that I'm covered for 2 lakhs. Why do I need any further insurance? And when I go and tell them that, based on data, ideal insurance coverage, what we perceive is somewhere between 15 to 25 lakhs, depending on in which age bracket you belong to. If you are on a higher age bracket, you should look at subsequently between 20 to 25 lakhs. A slightly lower age bracket might result in a 15 lakhs. And when we tell them that this is how the inflation costs are, medical inflation costs are, then that becomes an eye opener. So the first thing that we think, so insurance is something that we don't need. And primarily when we don't need something, our habit is to keep pushing it. कि अभी तो जरूरत नहीं है तो क्यों लेना है, let us take it sometime down the line, when I need it I will take it. Now the biggest problem of health insurance is you will need it only when you would anticipate a claim. Now the doctor would have said there's some critical illness or there's something for which you need to go for a hospital. At that time nobody will give you a health insurance. So what is important is lower the age bracket. You find a good health insurance program, please enter into it. And as you enter into it, stick to that insurance program because that's where even you will cross your pre-existing disease benefits, your cycles. And once you're into a health insurance program, try and get into a program which is sort of pretty comprehensive in terms of takes care. I will request all to mute yourselves, please. Thank you. Keeping that in mind, how much is an adequate cover? Say 15 lakhs for up to the age bracket of 30 and upwards of 20, 25 lakhs when you keep moving. Now, the biggest anomaly is beyond 45, you all of us are compulsorily asked to go for medicals. I'm talking from the retail medical policies point of view. And beyond 50 or 55 is very difficult to get hold of an health insurance program, which normally covers everything. Even if you get into a program, there'll be a lot of tests, there'll be a lot of entry costs, higher costs, and at the same point of time, a lot of co-payment. Co-payment is the additional amount that we need to shell out at the time of claims. So the most important question is the first question: how much is an adequate cover? I have told about that. So as you get a chance to get into a program like this, do get into a program. How are the current healthcare costs I've talked about? Is it difficult to get health insurance covers in the market? Is also covered in my statement. Yes, to an extent. And some of us are covered by corporate, but corporate health insurances ka minus point ये है कि the moment we switch the organization, there's no more cover. So ideally, once since we are, or some of us or most of us would be covered by corporates, or if you are entrepreneurs, we would be running it for our employees. That would be to the tune of 3 or 4 or 5 lakhs. That's the benchmark data. And if anybody is getting covered from the corporates beyond 5 lakhs is above benchmark, but very difficult beyond 10 lakhs. Even if you are covered up to 10 lakhs or say up to 5 lakhs, we would want to have a personal safety net of ours because we never know when we would require this kind of an insurance program. So these kind of programs do give us a good safety net. Beyond what age bracket it becomes difficult to secure a health insurance cover, I say that beyond 45, we have to compulsory go in for medicals. And then, so you know that I'll not name the insurer. There is an insurer. If you go, so when we will come out with a program and we will share you the rates, the first thing that you will do is you will go to internet and you will compare. So when you will compare, you will find there are players in the market. There is one player specifically in the market who is saying that I will give a retail mediclaim program at a zero PED, at a zero pre-existing disease waiting period, which means apparently when you look into the website, it would mean that, oh my God, retail programs give entry at a 3 year or a 4 year wait period for PED. If I'm getting a chance, let me apply for it. So the biggest challenge is, so last week only I went and met their health insurance head who has come up with this program. And that gentleman said that, Budayan, the biggest challenge for me is also ensuring what kind of risk is coming on board. So I will do whatever is required and all possible medicals and into a detailed medical. And then if my underwriters are confident that this is a healthy risk, I will take them on board. So you see that when you will compare, you will definitely compare the kind of alumni insurance programs and the challenges I'll talk about, the sort of indicative costs I'll give you an idea. But what you see on the internet or what you see digitally or what you see on the market is not necessarily the picture. And for insurance, you should definitely speak to or have a good understanding in terms of which product moves the needle for you. There are a lot of products in the market. Would you want that, or would you want a product which is somewhere, better than the other retail mediclaim program? What is the difference between a top up and a super top up? So now this concept of a top up and a super top up is important to understand because if say we are covered by our employer to the tune of say 5 lakhs, for example, for discussion's sake, most of us would be covered 2, 3, 4, 5 lakhs sum insured by our employers. A top-up policy is a policy which will sit comfortably over the first layer, which is your corporate layer. And normally top-up policies are offered by corporates where they say that the same coverages of base policy will get mapped in a top-up policy and say if you are having a sum insured of 5 lakhs, you will get a top-up sum insured of another 5 lakhs. So it becomes 5 plus 5. Many corporates work in that. There are top-up policies which are also available in the market. But a super top-up policy, so now for a top-up policy, you will also need to cover uh, the deductible. So there is a deductible concept. So I will also explain what a deductible is. A deductible in a top-up or a super top-up policy is the amount up to which the policy will not trigger. So in the earlier example that I talked about, where 5 plus 5, so in the 5 lakhs of top-up, 5 lakh would be deductible, and this 5 lakh would get covered by your base policy. That's how corporates plan it. Now, if you take a top-up policy from the market, and if you need to cover the claims amount on every claim, it becomes basically impossible for you to come and claim. And it will become very difficult for you to come and claim, because it's how many times will you cross your deductible and come? Now, a super top-up policy is a fantastic policy which is not dependent on you having any insurance program, not dependent on your base program, not dependent on the coverages of the base program. So it's an independent program that I'm talking about. At the same point of time, it has a deductible, and that deductible can be paid by your own pocket, can be paid from any other insurance program, and you just need to submit the payment receipts, and then the super topper program can trigger. Now, this is not the best part. The best part is for a super top up, uh, please put yourselves on mute. I would request. Thank you. Now, for a super top up program, the best part of the program is that in the case of top up, you need to cover the deductible across every claim. In the case of super top up, you need to cover the deductible only once in the policy year, which means there are higher chances of you coming back and claiming in a super top up program. So that is a phenomenal difference between a top up and a super top up. And why is a super top up policy better? Yes, it is better because you have a higher chance of coming back and claiming. Because if the deductible is 5 lakhs, you just need to cross the deductible only once in that policy period, and then all your claims can move in here. In case of a top up, every time you need to cross that deductible with every claim, which becomes sort of impossible. So I've also explained what is a deductible. I'll again reiterate for you guys to understand. The deductible is an important concept because I can choose a deductible based on what is my base coverage. So if I'm covered for say 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs, I would want to choose a deductible around that. If I'm covered for 10 lakhs, I will not choose a deductible of 3 lakhs. I would look at a higher deductible coverage. Deductible is up to the amount the super topper program will not trigger. Beyond that, it's going to trigger. And what was the need for Vidyapit Alumni Association to look at an insurance program? So when I was talking to Riteshji and Samudrida and the other panel members, I understood that there is a need that people are reaching out to them and trying to see if some kind of an insurance program for the alumni can be worked out, and how different could it be in terms of structuring. So that was the need where Vidyapit started looking into the program into the available options. Now, why health insurance is essential and how much is an adequate cover? I have talked about this in detail. And then when you do that, a couple of questions that you need to ask yourself is, what insurance cover do I have currently? Take out a piece of paper, write that, I'm covered for 3 lakhs. My family, spouse and children are covered for 3 lakhs, or maybe my parents are not covered, or my parents are covered up to this. Write it down. Then ask yourself, do I have a family history of specific illnesses, some chronic illnesses, cancer, kidney diseases, any other kind of heart ailments? Ask yourself in what age bracket you are and how easy it is for you to get into a health insurance program without medical. So one of the plus points of these kind of alumni insurance programs, and which is I'm trying to divert your attention to, is that there are no medicals. If you go out in the market, there's a rigorous medical treatment which we get resorted to. In these kind of insurance programs, normally there are no medicals. When can I afford any large claim? Ask yourself that if anything hits me, can I afford a large claim of 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 15, 20? Or can I afford it from my pocket, or should I look at a second layer safety net to safeguard myself? A good rule of thumb is to have coverage that's about 50% of your annual income. Many of you would be high profile, top notches. So please understand that nowadays health insurance costs are exorbitant. I'll give you one example, which will, might create some sense of urgency. That last year there was a case in IIM Kozhikode Alumni Association policy, where one of the IIM Kozhikode alums in Hyderabad got admitted. Initially, it was a claim of 3 lakhs, so his deductible was 5 lakhs, so they didn't register it. On the fourth day or on the fifth day, I get a distress call where it is understood that that guy's condition has deteriorated. And can you guess the amount, the bill amount to which it ran to? It ran to 55 lakhs. That was the bill amount, 55 lakhs. He was in the hospital for 20 days. And then he survived it, and we are lucky that he survived. But there was a fundraising then which started at the IIM Kozhikode Alumni Association. People reached out to me. I tried and fought with the insurance. We got 20 lakhs paid from the program. Now, what I'm saying is here that it's not that I'm trying to showcase that we got 20 lakhs paid. What is important is 55 lakhs for a health insurance bill. Who has ever heard of it? But these kind of scenarios are happening. So if we earn a 1 crore, at least 50 lakhs health insurance coverage is what I would have. It's a basic rule of thumb. You can have a higher coverage as well. Preferably have a higher coverage because you would be sort of, in an age bracket where you would get easy entry. For your parents, at least look at a 15-20 lakh coverage, because for senior citizens or for parents beyond 50, medical costs are further higher. And at least we would want to safeguard ourselves to that extent. Now, having said that, I structured the insurance program for IIM Bangalore Alumni Association. I have picked up a coverage of 75 lakhs across 5 lakh deductible, and for my parents, I've picked up for 30 lakhs. Simple, and there's no rocket science into it. I would want my bottom line to be covered. I would not want my savings to go out in case of any kind of exigency. That's the basic bottom line. And then you ask yourself these questions. There is where you will feel that there is a need or an urgency for you, and you would appreciate what Vidyapeeth Alumni Association is trying to do for the alumni. Now, there's one catch to it. These kind of insurance programs can only survive and sustain if we are able to pull in more number of alumni. So today in the call, we are roughly 17 participants. Can we get 17,000 people at least? If each one of us take up the mandate and reach out to 100 or our batchmates at least, and if we are from different batches, that's how it happens. So I'll tell you, IIM Bangalore, the first launch. So the launch for Vidyapeeth is yet to happen. This is just an awareness call. But for IIM Bangalore, the launch had some 200 odd alumni joined in. But you know how many alumni had actually taken up the program? Some 2,500 alumni has come in, and some 8,000 lives have come in. That has only happened because we reached out to more and more and further and further. And everybody understood that the kind of, I'll talk about more in terms of what an alumni insurance program can offer, and the value that it brings on the table. And that only sustains when you get more people on board. So I've talked about right age, buy it as young as you can because the premiums go up. And if you decide to enter at an early age, pick up a 50 lakh, 75 lakh, a crore of a cover if you are young, less than 40. आजकल young का definition less than 40 होता है. आज कुछ लोग less than 45 भी young का definition कर देते हैं. So pick up that, and if you are beyond 40 to 50, look at a decent 40-50 lakh cover. Above 60, look at a 30-40 lakh cover. The reason being that the premiums would go up, obviously, because of the age bracket coming in and the risk exposures coming in. So as early as you can, please get into a program which fits the bill for you. What is the deductible? I've explained deductible is the amount up to which the policy doesn't trigger. Now, the difference between co-payment and deductible, this is also a basic concept, where we normally get confused. Co-payment comes in at the time of claim. When I say co-payment comes in at the time of claim, it means that if the bill amount is 1 lakh and the policy has a co-payment of say 10%, I would have to pay 10,000 from my pocket as a co-payment at the time of claim. Now, when I talk about deductible, deductible is before the claim trigger. So deductible is the amount up to which the policy will not trigger. So if I picked up a deductible of 5 lakhs, up to 5 lakhs, some other policy or through my expenses, I'll have to bear. Beyond 5 lakhs, I can present all the bills out here. So that is co-payment and deductible. And quickly, the challenges faced by Vidyapeeth. Now, this is important that the challenges that Vidyapeeth face is that this alumni policies are selection policies. So when I say selection policies, Vidyapeeth might have 50,000, 60,000 plus alumni. How many of us are going to come on board? That is a very important question to ask, because If only the population who are going to claim are going to come onto this program, the program will not sustain. We need a right balance of healthy population, younger population, and also people who would come and claim. Since this is 100, so overall in the market, you will find either it's a retail program or it's a 100% employer-employee program where 100% of the employees come in. In this case of a selection policy, the biggest risk for an insurer is that they don't know, and even the alumni association wouldn't know who would come into this program, who would opt into this program, and what would be the claims ratio. There is no data for us because in terms of we don't know, even if we have 50,000 plus alums, we don't know how many would come and attend, sorry, how many would come and enroll, and what percentage of population would claim out of that. So there's no existing data. It's a selection policy. So you understand the challenge that pricing this kind of a product becomes very difficult. So what can be a possible outcome? So since we have already walked this space with two IIMs, one being IIM Bangalore, the other being IIM Kozhikode, we found out that premier institutes or elite institutes normally are covered on the base side, at least to the tune of 3 lakhs, at least to the tune of 5 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 10 lakhs, depending on which organization they work for or their own firm that they run. So we found that a super topper program has a more fitment into it with unique coverages, which are not there in the market, like a 1 year pre-existing disease wait period instead of a 3 or a 4 year wait period. No medical. You can bring in your parents, you can bring in your in-laws in the same program, your spouse, your kids. You can choose very high sum insured that says like say up to 75 lakhs or say 1 crore. And also you can opt for a personal accident cover for alumni. So that's also important because if anything happens to you, your immediate nominee gets that amount paid against. So these are might be the possible outcomes. This is not what Vidyapit has designed for you. This is what our experience talks about in the market. So I will take 2 more minutes to explain how a deductible works. Important to understand. So suppose there is a super topper program running and the alumni name is James Bond. Now James Bond has 3 policies. In one policy, James Bond is covering himself, his spouse, up to 4 kids. In another policy, is covering up to 2 parents, and in another policy, is covering up to 2 parent-in-laws. So these are policies, but the insurance program is one where you pull in all these. Policy is just the definition. So he's picked up a sum insured of 50 lakhs and he's picked up a deductible of 5 lakhs. So if this is the program, now suppose there is one claim which comes in, and when I talk about one claim which comes in, which is of 3 lakhs, say in the James Bond's policy, which is alumni spouse and kids policy, will this claim be payable? No, it will not be payable because the deductible is 5 lakhs. So James Bond will have to arrange for the amount either from some other insurance program or through his pocket. Now there's a second claim which comes of 7 lakhs in the parents policy. Will this claim be payable? Yes, it will be payable, but it will be payable for 2 lakhs. The reason being the deductible is 5 lakhs. Now, in the same year, so James Bond is having a rough year. In the same year, there's a third claim of 4 lakhs in the alumni spouse kid policy. So earlier it was James Bond's claim. Now maybe James Bond's spouse comes in and starts claiming in the program. 4 lakhs. So will this claim be paid? So ideally, earlier there was a claim reported of 3 lakhs. Now James Bond has reported a claim of 4 lakhs, so it's 3 plus 4, 7 lakhs. So 7 minus 5 being the deductible, 2 lakhs will get paid. Very simple calculation. Now there's a fourth claim which comes in of 10 lakhs in the parent-in-law's policy. How much will be paid? 5 lakhs will be paid because 5 being the deductible. Now there is a fifth claim which comes in of where something very severe happens to the parent, one of the parents, and there's a fifth claim which comes in of 20 lakhs. So he's covered up to sum insured of 50, so he can definitely lodge this claim. Will this claim get paid? If you see on claim number 2, we have already crossed the deductible 1. And this being a super top up, the entire 20 lakhs will get paid since we have crossed the deductible. So this being a short understanding in terms of how a deductible works. Now there were certain questions which already Ritesh had asked, or Ritesh had collated on behalf, and I would answer them one by one. And once we finish this, I'll pass it back to Ritesh for any further questions. So how much will be the premium is one question. So the premium will vary based on the program that we design, will also vary based on your age, and will also vary based on the sum insured that you choose. So these are the 3 parameters based on which you will get a table, and on the table you will find age on one side, you will find sum insured on one side, and you can plot and you can do. Now, the biggest advantage is we would chart out a complete technological journey for you, a digital journey for you, where we would integrate with the Alumni Association portal of Vidyapeeth, and you log in through the Alumni Association portal, and then this insurance program comes up. You put in your details, click, 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 make payment online, and then that's how we proceed. So anybody sitting out of Dubai, so in our Bangalore, we did that. Anybody sitting out of Dubai, sitting out of Australia, trying to buy a program for your family in India, they could do that swiping international cards. So that's the kind of ease that we bring in as Zopper. Two things that we bring in. One is the product understanding side, which you would be understanding through this presentation that we have a fair bit of understanding and idea in this space. And the second is the technological journey that we build. Will the premium vary in case of existing PED? So the premium would come in as a built-in chart. So it will not be separate for you. It will be a single premium against that age bracket and against that sum insured. What will be the sum insured? Good question. So I am Bangalore program starts from 10 lakh sum insured, goes up to 1 crore, 75 lakh, sorry. And Kozhikode starts from 10 lakhs, goes up to 1 crore, deductible 3, 5, 7, 5, 10, depending on what you guys want and what the Alumni Association decides. Which works better, a base or a super topper program? Our experience says that a base program has a higher chances of, more claims happening and the policy becoming not sustainable. These kind of alumni insurance program, if you are able to come up with a super top up as a second layer safety net, which covers us for very high adversities, that's where the success of this program would lie. Obviously, base programs are also there in the alumni insurance program, but very low sum insureds and parents not allowed or parents allowed, then a lot of co-payments. So they have their own nitty-gritties there. Foreign citizens, alums, or NRI alums can take up this policy depending on the insurer that we finalize. Yes, you can take up this policy, but you cannot avail. Please understand that any kind of group mediclaim program, so this is a group retail kind of a mediclaim program, has the jurisdiction, or as per IIDA, the jurisdiction is to be India only. So anybody who is not in India and wants to avail it in US, they want to avail this insurance program, is not going to work. Either you take up an international mediclaim program from here and go, or you pick up a health insurance program at that country where you are in. This will cover foreign citizen alums and NRI alums, depending on again on the insurer that we choose. If you travel back to India and avail the hospital benefits. So, does this cover international travels and medical treatment? So, this is not a travel policy. This is a health policy. In case you want to cover your international travels and medical treatments, which are emergency specific, you can pick up a travel policy as you are traveling. And medical treatments across the world, there are retail programs, very highly priced retail programs available in India, which you can pick up depending on which geography you're going on to. They would charge you a premium according to that. Network list of hospitals, yes, based on the insurer that we finalize, you will be having a network list. Based on every insurer, you'll be having a network list. Will it cover parents and in-laws? Yes, the program normally covers parents and in-laws. Can I pick and choose members in the program? No. This is this is a selection policy. Uske andar you are bringing in more selection. So you actually want to bring in those members who would claim. That is not possible. And please ensure that we don't do it. Please also advise your people, your fellow batchmates and your fellow mates that the biggest challenge of this program is that it's a selection policy. Let's not only bring in those people who would claim. Let's bring in some healthy population which balances it out, right? There's no point in having 100 rupees premium and 1000 rupees claim. The policy will never see the light of day the next year. So you can't pick and choose members. Please bring in everybody. Should I discontinue my existing insurance plan if I take up this one? Absolutely not, at least not for a year. You should keep running all your insurance programs. Look at this program as a stepping stone, because at least wait for a year. Why I'm saying is because minimum to minimum, this program will have a wait period of 1 year PED. At least continue all your insurance program till then and then make a conscious call of switching. You might as well run both the programs parallelly. Does it cover maternity? So base program might cover maternity, but maternity, please understand, has a high cost linked to it, and it has a surety rate. So whenever insurers put in the concept of maternity, they will charge a higher loading to it. So in the case of super top-ups, where the deductible is a 3 lakh or a 5 lakh, maternity doesn't come into the picture because it gets wrapped up in 50K to 1 lakh, depending on where we are. Unless it's a very luxury kind of a maternity that we're looking at. So maternity normally doesn't get picked up on the super top-up programs. Children covered till what age? Up to age 25. Parents and parent-in-laws can be covered till what age? Depends So up to, and Bangalore covered it up to 70 years of penance. And if we are looking for covering higher age bracket of penance, more complexities will come in. And those complexities will get unraveled when we start looking out for insurers in terms of gathering more data. Maybe they might ask for medicals across a particular age because that's a very high risk bucket, high risk segment bucket. But yes, a parent and parent-in-laws both can be covered up to certain age brackets, which we can look at. So somebody asked, I'm out of India, can I avail this insurance? You can buy this insurance. Being out of India, we will enable you to buy it, but you have to avail it once you're back in India. Hospitalization has to be in India, and the deductible has to be crossed in India. These are two primary things for claiming in a super topper program. Can we take more than one health insurance? Absolutely. You can take more than one health insurance program, and that's the logic that you will have one base cover provided by someone, or you might have your own. You would want to build a super top up over that as a second safety net. Will this program cover cancer? Normally, cancer survivors are also not part of any insurance programs. It's a strict no-no negative list, for the insurers. Depending on the insurer that we choose, we can see what we can do, but take it as a no. Or even if they say yes, they would ask 1,000 questions. They would ask for your report. So it's not easy to get into any insurance program if you are a cancer survivor. What happens if the primary insurer dies? This is a very good question because IIM Bangalore Alumni Association decided that even if the primary insurer dies, they would continue the benefit to their spouse and family. So it depends on the alumni association. We can negotiate this point with the insurer. Will this program depend on any other program or will work on its own? Again, a very important question, and I explained this, that this will work on its own. And that's the beauty for this program. So this is where I take a pause and hand it back to Ritesh.
Thanks, Budhendra. It was you covered most of the queries we had, and I will request the alumni if they have any queries, any doubts. This is their opportunity to ask Budhendra directly. And during the beginning of the session, I informed that this session will also be uploaded on the website. So after the session, if someone
Recording in progress.
I can send it to Budhendra. But for the moment, please go ahead. Either you can raise your hand and ask the question directly or type it in the chat box. We will pick it from there. Vijay, I think you are trying to ask a question, but you are on mute.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can, sir.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
I am Group Captain, retired recently from Indian Air Force. I am already covered by ECHS program, if you know about ECHS. So if I join this program, what else I get out of it? Can you offer me anything beyond ECHS, or what all you can offer to me?
So ideally, ECHS is pretty comprehensive, and since you are part of the Indian Army, so Indian Army has a good health insurance program which runs. Once we are about, on the verge of finalizing, you can reach out. So there'll be a lot of marketing content which will reach out to you in terms of what all coverages we have built into the program and all. Do have a look. I would request that this might not be the right time to have this discussion because we are yet to finalize on the coverages and the benefits. Once we have it finalized, formalized, once it reaches out to you as a communication, you can ping on us, and then I might come into a one-to-one call, and we can do a talk at that time to make you realize that whether there's actually a benefit or you can remain where you are.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Right.
But I need to ask one thing.
Yes, sir.
There are few policies in the market with unlimited restoration benefits, right? So having a policy with unlimited restoration benefit, do I need to have then again a top-up plan or super top-up plan? An unlimited restoration benefit with the benefit of same illness in the same year coverage?
Yeah. So, the 99% of the restoration benefit policies do not cover the same illness. So that's where.
No, but there are few policies in the market right now which covers the same illness in the same year. I'm talking about that particular policy. Having that policy, do I need any top-up policy then, if I do have that sort of
So let me
benefits.
answer you, Samudra, that to answer this question, let's understand it from the risk point of view. What is the adequate risk for which you need to be covered? Are you covered up to 75 lakhs or 1 crore in that program? Are you covered? Ask yourself this question when you're in that program. These might not be the exact questions, but to an extent, where do you assess your risk part? Basically, that are you covered for a higher sum insured when it is 75 1 crore? That's basically the first question that you need to look at. Second, that you need to ask yourself is, does it cover all your family members, including parents and in-laws? Third, you need to ask that does it take care of the PD wait period? And if you are into a program for a subsequent year, for subsequent years where your PD wait periods are taken off and you have unlimited restoration benefits, even for the same critical illness that you have availed for, and you are covered for say 50 or 75 lakhs or a higher sum insured which you feel is adequate, then you need not look at anything else. But if to that extent you answer yourself, you are the best judge there. Having said that, I think the biggest question that we need to ask ourselves is, what amount of risk am I covered for and to what extent am I covered for? So the biggest challenge of these programs which are readily available in the market, which you go ahead and compare, is that it is only available for the healthy. Point number one, it is only available for the young. Beyond a particular age, everybody is a high risk. Beyond a particular age, everybody has to go for medical. Beyond a particular age, they do not give higher sum insured. So when you look at the kind of your risk assessment and you see that either it fulfills, like Vijay sir said that he's covered with ECHS, it's pretty comprehensive. But it shouldn't stop Vijay sir from looking at any other insurance program, because we don't know what's going to hit us. If I'm covered in ECHS, say for unlimited sum insured, I can still think of not having any other insurance program. But if there is a limit to that sum insured, I should look at a parallel program. But then the best thing for Vijay sir would be to wait for the coverages to come in and compare. Same thing for you, Samudra, that you would ask yourself the question, does it cover your risk, your entire risk? And if you look at the risk assessment slide that I talked about, ask yourself those questions, you would understand what your basic risk is and then proceed. That's the best way.
Right.
Yeah. And thanks, that's a good question, sir. Yeah, any other questions?
Udayanda, Ritesh here.
Yeah, Ritesh.
In your experience, what would be the minimum number of alumni who should insure from association side to make the policy, overall policy, a good one in the sense it has a good limit, covers most of the diseases, because this is the first time ever we are trying something like that, and someone says 1,000, someone says 500, so we are a bit confused. So
I'll tell you, I have data from two IIMs which I can share because that's my data. And originally, if you tell me, I personally feel that for this kind of an insurance program, so when we allow people to come into this program and allow them to come in at zero medicals and allow them to come in at 1 year PED, the claims would be on a higher side. Let's also understand, because we are allowing the senior citizen category also people to come in. But the policy has to remain sustainable. If it has to remain sustainable, I feel that to start with maybe a 500 alumni number and around 1,500 odd lives can be a good number to look at. I'll give you an example also. So IIM Kozhikode, and I'm sure Vidyapeeth would have 3x or 4x of the size of IIM Kozhikode alumni. IIM Kozhikode has around roughly 12,000 alumni. In the first year that they started the policy, 689 alumni had come in. This year, when we have renewed it, 993 alumni have come in, out of which 30% of the population are fresh new alumni who have come and joined us the program. There's a clear indication that this program is going to sustain, because the 30% of the new program, new population coming in the next year will have a wait period of another 1 year. So overall, to the insurer also, the program becomes more sustainable. So ideally, to answer your question, Ritesh, 500 is a number, bare minimum, that we should desperately look at, and I'll tell you, there's no rocket science in that. If required, we have to do more orientation sessions. And normally, once we finalize the product, if we do the orientation session at that point of time, it creates more awareness. how we do it is when we finalize, suppose you give us the mandate to go and look out for an insurer, we finalize the product, post discussions, we look at the rate. Once everything is finalized, the tech journey is finalized, and we start the enrollment. At that time, we do extensive sessions. A lot of people come in with a lot of case study specific questions. I have this, I have that. Can I do this? Can I do that? But then when that person gets the correct answer, we only tell them now go and enroll, because that's where the click to action button lies. So in order to convert or get more people on board, which is a very important thing for the program to be sustainable, we can do a lot of I think Dr. Arvind, yeah, we can do a lot of orientation sessions, and at that point of time, post the orientation sessions, when we give them a click to action button, that's where the more conversions happen. Ideally, 500 is the number, Riteshi, and I am Bangalore. I talked about around 25,000 odd alums, and 2,000 plus. And 2,000 plus alums who have come in this time. So ideally, 500 is a bare minimum number we should look at. That will make a lot of things easy down the line. And the only way to do that would be to do more orientation sessions, each of us reaching out to each of our batchmates and, trying and creating some awareness around it, and we should be home. I hope I'm able to answer you, Ritesh.
Yeah, Budhanda. Thank you. There is another question. Is it possible to have a tailor-made program in the sense we have a combination of base insurance and some people are interested only in top-up? So is it possible to have that kind of product?
Yes, we can do that, but for a smaller group size, a base insurance program will 100% fail. Super topper program at least comes with a deductible, so there's a likely chance. So if we have higher numbers, we can definitely look at the base and the super topper kind of a program.
Great, thank you. Budhanda, we have a question from Sambit in our chat box.
Yeah.
Sambit is asking, do you also have an alternate plan in case the group part doesn't start on time?
So alternate plan, Sambit, would be the best alternative would be looking at a retail policy, which is not going to meet your requirement of fit the bill. So ideally, I understand that Vidyapit Alumni Association is now aggressively pursuing the insurance program. Wait for some time; it should be up shortly. Get into this. Getting into a retail program is like 3-4 years of premium. आपको देना पड़ेगा. PED तब जाके cover होगा. आज के ज़माने में who has what PED nobody knows. So once you get diagnosed, तब निकल के आता है अरे 4 साल पहले तो आपको डायबिटीज था या hypertension था. So everything is linked. So it's better to get into a program.
Recording in progress.
No, I understood that point. So I was coming from the fact that since you are dealing with this group insurance, right? So at times it also happens that, say, for example, the Vidyapit one does not start on time, but you have got other groups where you include other people. Say, for example, you might have your own group. I just give an example, right? You got my point, correct? So I'm not talking about the retail ones. Retail ones we can take individual. Yeah.
So, Sambit, to answer that question, there's a concept of insurable interest. And when you talk about insurable interest, so who all can take insurance programs on behalf of somebody else? So the master policy holder can either be your employer who has employed you. That's an employer-employee kind of a program. Or it can be an alumni association or a trust kind of a body or a club membership with which you are associated with. So if you're associated Sambit with any kind of a body like that, connect me to them and let me talk to them. I can't pull you into my program because I don't have any insurable interest with you. I don't have any relationship with you, but you, Sambit, has a relationship with a Vidyapit Alumni Association per se, or you may be a pass out of a particular premier institute to connect us. That is what I'm trying to say is the insurable interest needs to come in. Then only this group kind of a program would trigger. I hope I'm able to explain.
Yeah, got it. Clear.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Right. I think there's one more question I could see. Athar has asked, generally problem is faced while raising claims. How will group health insurance or your company will ensure that these claims are passed without hindrance? So Athar, if we come on board, we are doing the same for IMD and IMK. We have a 20+ member team who manages claim day in and day out. You will have an email ID where you can write to and you will have your escalation points where you can reach out to from our organization and from the insurer as well. So we would be there in between to help. There's nothing to worry on that.
Any other questions?
Yeah, hi Ritesh, the Piyush here. I have one question.
Yes.
So, in the example which you showed, Brian, there were three policies you showed for, like, let's say, self and then for parents and parents a lot. And why would I, let's say, if I am going for this policy, why would I need three policies? Why not? I would want to have all of them in one policy.
No, so
Because
Piyush,
the table comes in for each of these three policies, right?
yeah, Piyush, it's one program, so you can cover all of them. But what happens is, अगर आप अपने लिए 1 करोड़ का सम इंश्योर्ड लेते हो, not necessarily आप अपने पेरेंट के लिए 1 करोड़ का सम इंश्योर्ड लोगे, right? Because पेरेंट्स का 1 करोड़ का सम इंश्योर्ड का जो प्रीमियम होगा वो आपका 4 गुना होगा. If you're ready to take that, that's fine. But insurance companies so one reason behind splitting into 3 policies is allowing you the flexibility to choose कि अपना spouse और अपने लिए spouse और kids के लिए maybe you choose 1 crore. For parents you choose 50 lakhs and for in-laws you choose 40 lakhs or 50 lakhs depending on how you want to choose it, depending on how they are covered. That's one part. Second है वो insurance company का policy structure पे depend करता है. आप covered हो, आपका एक प्रोग्राम में covered हो, but वो for the sake of reducing the system complexity, it's into 3 policies. That's it. But it's a part of the same program.
No, I understood that, but the flip side is you have to pay deductible for each of these three policies. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't. There is no one policy which can take in at one program you, your parents, your kids, because you understand the risk becomes very high, no?
But most of the corporate programs which run, let's say, employer program which you were talking about earlier, there you can enroll your parents-in-laws as part of the same policy, and whatever deductible comes in or copay.
So Piyush Saab, the biggest mistake that we do is either we compare this alumni insurance program with a corporate or we compare this with a retail. दोनों हम इसलिए नहीं कर सकते हैं क्योंकि कॉर्पोरेट में इन एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉय प्रोग्राम जितने एम्प्लॉयज होते हैं सब आते हैं उस प्रोग्राम में. Now if you tell me, Piyush Saab, that you will get in all your 25, 30,000 or 40,000, 50,000 alumni, it will become like a corporate insurance program and we can build something phenomenally. But there's no guarantee, right? There's no guarantee कितने लोग आएंगे. तो ये डेटा लेके जब आप इंश्योरर के पास जाओगे तो इंश्योरर कैसे स्ट्रक्चर करेगा, ऐसे सोचिए. You will get your answer.
Okay, so basically you are seeing high risk people would be put in different categories. Is this what you're saying?
It's not a different category. It's a separate deductible for each policy combination. That's how it is.
So basically, if people are in high risk, for them the deductible would be separate.
You can choose. आप चूज कर सकते हो. वो ऑप्शन हम ही बना के दिए हैं जहाँ पे आप अपने लिए डिडक्टेबल थोड़ा हाई रख सकते हो मे बी बिकॉज यू माइट बी कवर्ड विद योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से 10 लाख तक कवर्ड हो तो उसमें आपने अपने लिए 10 लाख और 1 करोड़ का चूज किया. 10 लाख डिडक्टेबल 1 करोड़ सम इंश्योर्ड चूज किया. Parents might be covered up to 3-5 lakhs because that's what in India we cover our parents for. वहां पे आप मे बी पेरेंट्स के लिए 3 लाख डिडक्टेबल चूज करते हो और 20-30 लाख का सम इंश्योर्ड चूज करते हो. So you get that option also. It is not that you have to go with the same deductible. आपके रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से आप ट्वीक कर सकते हो. So I think this is beneficial actually अगर आप इसको properly करो तो.
Will the premium also vary in these cases?
Yeah, absolutely. Premium will vary on two things. One, majorly on the age bracket. आपकी एज ब्रैकेट आपकी पेरेंट्स से काफी कम होगी तो आपके प्रीमियम्स कम होंगे, उनके प्रीमियम्स थोड़े ज्यादा होंगे. So that's how it is.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I think there's one more question. Mayank is asking, maximum amount of insurance permissible in your company is 25, 30 or more, or then how much will be sufficient amount? So Mayank, you need to ask yourself, maximum amount will be the amount that we finalize, can be 75 lakhs, 1 crore, depending on what the alumni association decides as the maximum sum insured. And the best way to ask yourself this question is, mind you ask yourself to what extent you are covered by your employer, to what extent your parents are covered, and then take a conscious call how you would want this program to come in and fit the bill.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yeah, Shankar sir.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask, like, based on the things that you have shown in the presentation and everything, I understand that there might be a 1 year of waiting period for the PEDs, and also like for enrolling in-laws or like parents, it is like up to 70 years or so you told. But if someone's parents or in-laws are in the age bracket of 85 plus and they have some existing PEDs, so are we applicable to like come into the program or?
Shankar sir, that is not yet finalized. That would depend on the program that we finalize. So my experience says that up to 70, the insurance entry into the insurance program in this kind of a selection-based program is sort of easier. Beyond 71 years of age and say the age bracket that you're talking about, 80, 85, the entry cost would be pretty high, point number one. And it is actually depending on how the insurer would want to underwrite that portion of the piece. So we would able to give you a clearer picture maybe once we formalize or finalize the product.
Yeah, okay, because some PEDs, existing PEDs are also there, and those type of help. Okay. Yeah.
So that's like a 3-4 set of algorithms, which they will run and they will come back with something. So I can give you an answer to this once we finalize the product.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, so I take that there are no further queries. On that note, Bodhanda and Monica, thank you very, very much for a very detailed presentation and doing it so quickly and patiently taking up all the questions we had in the session, and also I had emailed few questions to Bodhanda. So we are very grateful to you, especially on a weekend you come and present us when you could have been with your family or friends, so we appreciate it a lot. So our plan is we will upload this presentation on our YouTube, and Bodhanda or Monica, if we have further questions which will keep coming on the email, I will not send one by one, I will compile them, share with you, and we will discuss this internally within our committee, and it's on committee how they want to proceed, like what will be the criteria of selecting the final service provider and the timeline. I will keep you updated. Meanwhile, I will also keep the alumni association and the alumni updated on what's going on, so it's a full transparent process. Bodhanda and Monica, if you have any queries from your side, please free to contact me. I will pass it on to the executive committee, and hopefully everything works out well for both sides. On that note, I will wish you all a good weekend.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for making time.
Thank you.
Have a nice weekend.
Thank you, Monica. Bye-bye.
Thank you.